Alright, you're welcome to this lesson. So, in the previous video before this, we dealt with multiples. If you have not gone through that video, or you've not seen that video, please do well to watch it so that you understand what we're going to do here today. Okay, but if you have watched the video, let's try now. So, today we're going to be dealing with common multiples. First of all, let me give you a recap. When we dealt with multiples, we said that multiples of a number are products of that number. For example, the multiple of 5 and are products of 5. So you have 5, 10, 15, 20. These are all multiples of what? 5. 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, 5 times 4, right? These are all multiples of 5 because they are products of 5 when you use 5 to multiply any other number, or when you use any other number to multiply 5. So we say 5 is the first multiple of 5, 10 is the second multiple of 5, 15 is the third multiple, 20 is the fourth multiple of 5, and so on. Okay? So today now we are going to talk about common multiples. Mind you, when you're talking about common multiples, you're talking about 2 or more numbers, not just one. Because you're talking about what is common to a set of numbers, right? So you know what multiples are? Now, common multiples of a number are numbers that can easily or exactly divide 2 or more numbers, right? For example, you have 3, 4, and 6. Okay, you have to look for multiples of 3, multiples of 4, multiples of 6, and check the ones that they have in common. Alright, so I will do with an example. Let's go. So you have common multiples of 3, 4, and 6. How do we find the common multiples of 3 and 4 and 6? First of all, you write the multiples of 3. Right? Multiples of 3. Then you write out the multiples of 4. Then you write out the multiples of 6. Okay? So what are the multiples of 3? Those are numbers that you multiply by 3, products of 3. So we have the first multiple is 3, 3 times 1. Second multiple is 6, 3 times 2. Then we have 3 times 3, which is 9. 3 times 4, which is 12. 3 times 5, which is 15. 3 times 6, which is 18. 3 times 7, we have 21, and so on. Alright? Then you have multiples of 4, which is 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 4 times 3, 12. 4 times 4, you have 16. 4 times 5, you have 20. 4 times 6, you have 24, and so on. Right? Infinite. Now, multiples of 6, you have 6 times 1, 6. 6 times 2, 12. Right? 6 times 3, you have 18. 6 times 4, you have 24. 6 times 5, you have 30. Okay? And so on. Now, this is 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 6, 18. 3 times 7, 21. The next number here is 24. Right? 3 times 8 is 24. Now, these are all multiples. They are continuous, right? You can keep multiplying on and on and on. But we don't need to know all the multiples. We just need to find at least 3 or 4. Okay? So, now these are all the multiples. Some of the multiples of 3. There is some multiples of 4, some multiples of 6, right? It goes on and on. You have 30, 36, and so on, right? It goes on and on. Now, your job is to find what is common, the multiples that are common. So now, look at all these numbers, look at all these numbers, look at all these numbers. You will see that the first multiple that is common to all of them is 12. Okay? The next multiple that is common to all of them is what? 24. 24, 24. Okay? If I keep going, after we have 3 times 8 is 24, we'll get to where we have 3 times 12, which is 36. You also get to where we have 4 times 9, which is 36. Then here you already have 36, so 36 is also a common factor. Alright? So now the common factors, or let's say the first 3 common factors, common multiples rather, sorry. So the first 3 common multiples, right, of 3, 4, and 6 are, what are the common multiples? 12, right? 12 is common here, 24 is common here, and if you go ahead, you still have 36. So you have 12, 24, and 36. These are the common multiples. There are more, but for the first 3, they are the common multiples of what? Of 3, 4, and 6. Now, when you are told to find the lowest common multiple, it is very easy. That is the smallest number of all the multiples of this set of numbers. So what is the LCM, or the lowest common multiples of this number? The lowest common multiple is 12. So the LCM, therefore, the LCM of 3, 4, and 12, and 6 is simply what? 12. So it's very easy to find the common multiples of numbers. numbers. Your job is to simply write out all the multiples of each of the numbers, find the numbers that the multiples that are equal, or that are common to all of them, that show up in the three of them. Then the smallest of them, the least of them. That's why it's also called least common multiple. It's not only called the lowest, it's also called the least common multiple. So you can look for the least or the smallest of them, and that smallest number happens to be what? 12. So the LCM of these three numbers is 12. So that's how to find the lowest common multiples of two of one another.